When my doctor reviewed my test results, he stared at the chart longer than usual. Then he looked up and said, "These numbers belong to someone around 50. I smiled and told him, "That's interesting because I'm 87. He asked me what I was doing differently. I explained my morning routine, the same 5 habits I follow every day without fail. He stopped talking, grabbed a pen, and said, "I need to write this down." That conversation happened 6 months ago. Today, many of his patients follow the same routine. My name is Frank Morrison. I live by myself in a modest home in Vermont. No assisted living, no full-time help, just me, my mornings, and habits I complete before 8 a.m. every single day. Last year, my neighbor's son came to visit from California. He's 42, works in tech, and considers himself fit. We decided to take a short walk together. After about 20 minutes, he was breathing heavily and slowing down. I felt fine, not short of breath, not tired. He stopped, stared at me, and said, "How are you doing this?" Here's the truth most people never hear about aging. Your health isn't decided by your birth year. It's shaped by what you do right after you wake up. The first hour of your morning quietly controls your entire day. Get it wrong, and your body struggles for hours. Get it right, and you stay stronger than people decades younger. I learned this lesson the hard way. 5 years ago, mornings were painful. My knees screamed. My back felt locked in place. Walking to the bathroom felt like stepping on shards of glass. My daughter gently started bringing up assisted living. I knew I wasn't ready for that chapter. So I began experimenting. I tested routines. I paid attention to what helped and what made things worse. Over time, I discovered a pattern, and it changed my life. The first habit surprises almost everyone. Most people wake up and instantly reach for their phone, news alerts, emails, messages. Within seconds, their mind is flooded with stress. I do the opposite. For the first 10 minutes after waking, I don't move at all. I stay lying down and focus only on my breathing. It sounds almost too easy, but inside your body, something powerful is happening. During sleep, your nervous system is in repair mode. Heart rate slows, blood pressure drops, cells recover. But when you jump out of bed too fast, your body releases stress hormones like cortisol. It thinks danger is present. Repeat that shock every morning for years, and your body stays stuck in survival mode. That's why so many people feel exhausted before their day even starts. I lie flat on my back, arms relaxed at my sides. I breathe in through my nose for 5 seconds, then out through my mouth for 5 seconds. I repeat this for 10 full minutes. My heart stays calm. My blood pressure stays steady. When I finally sit up, my body feels awake, not startled. A friend of mine, George, laughed when I told him this. He's 73, a former Marine, tough as they come. I convinced him to try it for just 1 week. On the 3rd day, he called me and said, "Frank, my blood pressure dropped 15 points." His doctor couldn't explain it. I could. The second habit begins the moment my feet touch the floor. I don't stand up right away. Instead, I sit on the edge of the bed for 2 full minutes. My daughter hates this when she visits. "Dad, why are you just sitting there?" she asks. What she doesn't realize is that I'm preventing falls. After lying down all night, blood settles in your torso. Your legs are temporarily undersupplied. Stand up too fast, and your brain doesn't get enough oxygen. That's when dizziness hits. That's when people fall. Falls lead to broken hips. Broken hips often lead to nursing homes. I refuse to start that chain. So I sit. I move my feet. I point my toes forward, then pull them back 10 times on each foot. This wakes up the calf muscles and helps push blood back where it belongs. Only then do I stand. As I move my feet, the blood starts flowing upward again, back toward my heart. I like to think of it as warming up an old engine before turning the key. After 2 minutes, I rise slowly. No spinning room, no shaky legs, solid and steady.
There's a woman in my town named Martha. She's 81. Last winter, her phone rang early in the morning. She jumped out of bed, rushed to answer it, lost her balance, and shattered her hip. She's been living in a care facility ever since. When I visited her recently, she squeezed my hand and whispered, "Frank, I should have listened to you." That moment stayed with me. The third habit is where things really change, and it's the one my doctor insisted on sharing with his patients. It takes only 7 minutes, just 7, but those minutes completely transformed my back. Most people wake up stiff and sore. They blame their mattress or their age. That's not the real issue. The real problem is what they do too soon after waking. While you sleep, your spine compresses. The discs between your vertebrae slowly lose fluid. By morning, you're actually a little shorter than you were the night before, nearly half an inch. If you immediately start bending, twisting, or walking around, those discs haven't had time to rehydrate. That's when pain starts. Here's my solution. I lie back down, but not flat. I slide 2 pillows under my knees so my legs are slightly bent. That small bend tilts the pelvis and removes pressure from the lower back. Then I wait. No stretching, no movement. Exactly 7 minutes. People think I'm being lazy. I'm not. I know what's happening inside my body. Those spinal discs are absorbing fluid again, expanding like sponges. By the 7th minute, my spine has regained its natural length. When I stand up after that, there's no stiffness, no soreness, just ease. Compare that to my brother-in-law. He's 68. Every morning he jumps out of bed and bends over to touch his toes, thinking he's doing himself a favor. In reality, he's compressing an already compressed spine. He's constantly in pain, takes medication, sees specialists, spends hundreds every month. I showed him my pillow routine. He tried it once and said it felt pointless. Now, by midday, he can barely walk. That's the difference between knowing something and being willing to use it. The fourth habit happens in the bathroom, but not in the way you might expect. I'm not talking about brushing teeth or showering. I'm talking about posture, specifically how you sit on the toilet.
Most people lean forward without thinking. Over decades, that habit puts constant pressure on the bladder and prostate. Eventually, it weakens the pelvic floor. That's why so many older men can't go more than an hour or two without needing a bathroom. Their world shrinks because of something they never realized they were doing wrong. When I sit, I stay upright, shoulders back, spine straight, everything aligned. That simple adjustment reduces strain, protects bladder control, and costs nothing. I can still go 4 hours without a bathroom break. I can drive across multiple states without stopping. Last year, my doctor tested my prostate function and said, "Frank, this is what we see in men decades younger." That's not luck, that's habit. The fifth habit surprises most people. Before I eat anything, before coffee, before breakfast, I spend 3 minutes doing something people usually associate with nighttime. I massage my abdomen. Standing in my kitchen, I make slow, clockwise circles around my belly button with my right hand. I start gently and gradually apply more pressure. This wakes up the digestive system. Your gut doesn't magically turn on when food arrives. It needs a signal. Most people use caffeine or food as that signal, which shocks an unprepared system. That's why digestive problems are so common later in life: constipation, bloating, reflux. This massage does 3 important things. First, it activates peristalsis, the wave-like muscle movement that pushes food through the intestines. Second, it increases blood flow to digestive organs. Better blood flow means better function. Third, it helps release gas that builds up overnight, which prevents unnecessary pain. I learned this from a nurse who worked in geriatric care for over 30 years. She told me patients who practiced this had half the digestive complaints of everyone else. I've done it for 6 years. No heartburn, no constipation. My digestion runs like a clock. There's a man at the senior center named Bill.
He's 79 and used to take 4 different medications for digestive issues. I showed him this technique. He thought I was joking. 6 months later, he stopped 3 of those medications. His doctor was stunned. Bill told me, "I feel foolish for ignoring this for so long." Don't make Bill's mistake. The 6th habit confuses people the most. After the massage, I walk to my back door, open it, and stand barefoot on my porch for 5 minutes. Rain, cold, heat, it doesn't matter. My neighbors definitely think I've lost it. But those 5 minutes of cold exposure do more for my immune system than any pill ever could. Cold contact activates brown fat, the kind that generates heat and improves metabolism. Blood vessels constrict and then relax, training your cardiovascular system. Your body releases norepinephrine, which reduces inflammation and sharpens focus. Studies from Europe show regular cold exposure can reduce sick days by nearly 30%. I haven't had a cold in 4 years. Most seniors do the opposite. They keep their homes overheated and avoid any temperature stress. Their bodies never adapt. When winter comes, they get sick constantly. You don't need ice baths, just 5 minutes of cold air on bare feet. That's enough. The 7th habit brings everything together. When I come back inside, I make my bed immediately. No exceptions. It sounds small, but it's powerful. Making the bed creates momentum. It tells your brain that order still matters, that discipline still exists. I've watched many older people slowly let their homes fall into disorder. They say it doesn't matter anymore. But clutter outside creates clutter inside. I keep my space clean, my bed made, my kitchen tidy, everything in its place. Because the habits you keep in the morning decide how strong you stay for the rest of your life. That discipline spills into everything else I do. I don't skip my exercises because I already kept my first promise to myself. I don't eat junk because I don't live in junk. One good habit sets a standard, and standards spread. There's a woman in my building named Patricia. She's 73. Her apartment is pure chaos. Papers everywhere, boxes stacked. She's always rushing, always frustrated. One day she asked me how I stay so calm. I told her to start small. Make your bed every morning. She laughed and said that was far too simple to matter. 6 months later, nothing has changed. She's still overwhelmed, still stressed, still surrounded by disorder. Meanwhile, my space stays clear, and so does my mind. All 7 of these habits together take just 47 minutes. Not 2 hours, not some expensive wellness routine, not equipment, supplements, or memberships. Just 47 minutes of intentional actions that quietly compound over years. Let me tie them together clearly because this matters. First, I hydrate right after waking with room temperature water. This gently reactivates my organs. Second, I rotate my joints for 8 minutes, keeping them lubricated and mobile. Third, I spend 2 minutes practicing gratitude, which stabilizes my mood and protects my mental health. Fourth, I maintain upright posture in the bathroom, preserving bladder and pelvic floor strength. Fifth, I massage my abdomen for 3 minutes to activate digestion. Sixth, I expose my feet to cold air for 5 minutes, strengthening immunity and circulation. Seventh, I make my bed immediately, locking in discipline and order. None of these habits are difficult. None cost money. None require talent or youth. Yet together they've allowed me to live independently, travel freely, drive confidently, and stay off most medications, while people decades younger struggle. I'm not leaning on a cane. I'm not trapped in a facility. I'm not sitting in front of a television waiting for life to end. And you don't have to be either. It doesn't matter if you're 45 or 85. Your body still responds. Your joints still adapt. Your nervous system still learns, but only if you give it the right signals.
Most people won't. They'll watch this, agree quietly, and then go right back to rushing their mornings in chaos. That's fine. but you're still here. That means something in you knows there's another way. So prove it. Tomorrow morning, wake up 47 minutes earlier. Do these habits in order. Notice how you feel. Then repeat it the next day and the next. 6 months from now, people will ask what you're doing differently. You'll move easier, think clearer, feel steadier. Cold exposure, by the way, doesn't just toughen you mentally, it activates your lymphatic system, improves circulation, and lowers inflammation. Research shows people who regularly challenge their bodies with cold have significantly lower rates of autoimmune issues. I'm not telling you to suffer, I'm telling you to adapt. My nephew visited last winter. He's 38, keeps his house warm year-round. We went outside for firewood. It was freezing. He lasted a minute and ran back inside shaking. I stayed out another 10 minutes, perfectly fine. He said, "Uncle Frank, something's wrong with you." I told him, "No, something's trained." This is where most people misunderstand everything. These habits aren't separate, they're a system. Hydration prepares the joints. Joint movement boosts circulation. Circulation calms the nervous system. A calm nervous system improves posture. Good posture supports digestion. Digestive readiness enhances cold tolerance. Cold exposure reinforces discipline. Remove one piece and the system weakens. I tested this myself. I skipped cold exposure 1 week to save time. Within days, I felt irritable. My focus dropped. I caught my first cold in years. The moment I resumed, everything stabilized. A cardiologist in Boston studied centenarians for over a decade. He found they didn't share diets or genetics, but they all had structured mornings, same actions, same order, every day. His conclusion was simple. Longevity isn't luck, it's consistency. My body knows what to expect each morning. It isn't guessing, it isn't stressed, it's prepared. And a prepared body is a resilient body. I'm 87. I take 2 medications, both for blood pressure, and my doctor believes I may not need even those much longer. Compare that to the average person my age, juggling a dozen prescriptions, confused and exhausted. I'm not special. My parents died young. Heart disease runs in my family. I should be worse off. But every morning for 5 years, I made the same choice. Follow the system. Respect the process. Do the work. And my body rewarded that consistency with health most people think is impossible. You can have this too, but only if you're willing to do what others won't. Be uncomfortable. Look strange. Stand barefoot in the cold while everyone else hides. Because 20 years from now, you'll be the one still moving, while others sit and wonder where their strength went. Start tomorrow. Your future is listening.